we lose faith, right? In the midst of when you're working towards a goal and you're all pumped up and excited, but then you're not on track or you have some setback, right? The first thing that goes out the window is the faith that it's possible. You start talking to yourself like, oh man, there's no way. It's not going according to plan. I am not on track, right? And I link this to athletics. You think about like a Michael Jordan, or my favorite, one of the greatest basketball players of all time, or somebody more current like a Kobe Bryant or a LeBron James, or Reggie Miller. Actually, one of my favorite stories about the miracle equation is of Reggie Miller and the unwavering faith. These elite athletes, I don't know where it happened in their life when they were young, or at some point they made the decision that they would play their game. They would play the game. They would play the sport with unwavering faith that they could accomplish anything, right? And you see it where if Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant, if they miss a few shots, like most people, Nick, if you miss a few shots, what's going through your mind on the next shot?
That I'm going to miss again.
Right? Yeah, your doubt. Mm-hmm. Whereas I believe that Michael Jordan, these guys, they have unwavering faith that they can make every shot they take. And it's not based on reality, meaning you can make every shot that you take, just like you can achieve every goal that you're working towards, but it's a strategy that increases the success rate that you have. So when Michael Jordan misses 3 shots in a row, and the other players would be like, oh man, I missed 3 in a row, don't give me the ball, I'm not on tonight. Michael Jordan tells himself, dude, I'll make the 4th shot, guaranteed, I want the ball. And he shoots the 4th shot, and if he misses it, he's like, I'll make the next shot, right? Unwavering faith regardless of his results. And make sure you write that down, regardless of your results. And so you've seen it so many times in basketball. I'm a basketball fan, but in basketball games especially, where like a Michael Jordan or a Kobe Bryant, they're having the worst game ever, right? Like the first 3 quarters, they can't make a shot to save their life. But they never, ever give up the faith. And when their team needs them, you see in the 4th quarter, because they still have unwavering faith, even though they've missed 20 shots. Hey, this is my quarter. I don't care if the last 3 quarters suck. Give me the ball. They always want the ball. They always believe and have faith in themselves that they can accomplish anything that they want. And you see it happen. The 4th quarter, they come alive and they score 3 times as many points in the 4th quarter as they scored in the first 3 quarters, right? It's that unwavering faith. The second component, and this was the decision that I made, is I've got to put forth extraordinary effort until the last moment. Extraordinary effort until the last moment. And again, you might want to jot down, regardless of the results. Regardless of the results. Now, Nick, when faith goes out the window, like the first thing that happens when people aren't on track for their goals is you lose faith in yourself. Or if you tried something and you failed, you lose the faith that you can achieve something or accomplish something. When you lose the faith, the next thing that goes out the window is the effort, right? It's this, you're deflated. You think, what's the point of even trying? Like, there's no way I'm going to reach my goal. I'm not on track for my goal. And as a sales rep, right, if your goal is 20,000 and you're halfway through the competition and you're at 3,000, you're thinking, if in the first half I sold 3,000, there's no way I'm going to sell 17,000 in the second half, right?
Right.
So when I was reverse engineering, going, okay, if this $20,000 push period were to miraculously happen, what would I have had to do every day between now and the next 10 days? I thought I've got to maintain unwavering faith, and I'm going to give you a tip in a second on how to do that. And I've got to put forth extraordinary effort no matter what until the last moment, regardless of the results. And that's the only way that a miracle can happen. Because let's say I only have 1 day left on my goal and I'm nowhere close to hitting it. If I do what the average person does, what human nature tells us to do, which is there's no point in really trying. I don't really believe it can happen. Well, guess what? It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's not going to happen. But if I tell myself anything's possible, I'm going to give it everything I have, no matter what, until the very end, that's the only way that miracles can happen. So here's how you maintain unwavering faith, because it's a very kind of elusive topic. It's not like a concrete topic, right? So you use what I call the miracle mantra. sorry, if you're taking notes, I hope you're taking notes, everybody. But the miracle mantra. And the miracle mantra says this: I will do blank no matter what. There is no other option. I will do blank no matter what. There is no other option. So for me, it was I will sell $20,000 no matter what. There is no other option. And part of the mantra, I would kind of flip the mantra sometimes and go, I will give it everything I have until the end, no matter what. You might want to jot that down, right? That's the other part. Because it's not, you don't want to just focus on the result. Because if you're not on track and you tell yourself you're going to do it no matter what, sometimes it can get in your head and cause doubt. But you go, I'm going to give it everything I have until the end, no matter what. And the goal for me was to pass what I call the mirror reflection test. The mirror reflection test, which is where was I going to be able to look at myself in the mirror at the end of the competition, at the end of the push period, and look at myself in the eyes and honestly say, I gave it everything I had. If I could pass that test, I succeeded. And I'll teach you a bonus lesson real quick, which is the purpose of a goal. And this is big. The purpose of a goal is not to hit the goal. Write that down. I'm going to open my window. You write that down.
Okay. I like that.
You like me opening my window, or?
I like the purpose of the goal is not to hit the goal. So I think I know where you're heading with this, and I totally agree.
So, and here's the deal. The purpose of a goal is who you become. It's to become the type of person that you need to be to hit the goal, because you don't always hit the goal. You can't always control the outcome, but you can control who you are and how you show up and how you live every day in pursuit of a goal. And here's the deal. If you give it everything you have until the end, but the results don't work out, and the next time you're working towards a goal, you're now the type of person that has developed yourself into who you need to be to give it everything you have until the end. And when you do that, just like the elite athletes that I talked about, more often than not, you'll reach your goal. Did they win every game? No. But did they win most of them? Yeah. Because they have that, I believe they live by the miracle equation. Unwavering faith, and then the second part, extraordinary effort until the last moment. And that's kind of obvious. But again, if you give up the faith, the effort goes out the window. So you have to be cognizant of, I'm going to tell myself I'm going to reach my goal no matter what. There's no other option. I'm going to give it everything I have until the end, no matter what. And then you have to be in alignment with that faith through your efforts, your actions. Meaning you got to work. You got to wake up an hour earlier. I don't know if Nick, if we mentioned this on the last call, or you might have mentioned it, but when you wake up an hour earlier every day to work on your goals or dreams, that's the equivalent of 9 40-hour work weeks. Think about that.
That's crazy.
What if someone's like, hey, I'm going to give you 9 weeks off of work to just work on any goal or dream you want. 40 hours a week, you get to work for 9 weeks, over 2 months. Right? What you could write a book, you could start a new business, you could do anything. So extraordinary effort is going above and beyond, right? The ordinary, the mundane, and doing whatever is necessary. Extraordinary doesn't mean that, it doesn't mean that you have to be nuts. It just means that you do whatever is necessary to reach your goal. So any thoughts or questions or feedback, Nick?
I guess the big first one that I had is your push period. That was 10 days and 14 days. So those are very short periods of time, so it seems easier to maintain that faith and to give that extraordinary effort for a short period of time. But what about for the goals that people may have that are 10 years or even 5 years down the road? Will this miracle equation still work?
Great question. And I just realized too, remind me, I got to finish telling you how that story played out, right?
Okay.
How that push period went. No, great question. And the answer is, of course, it will, right? The miracle equation, I believe, is universal for any goal you're working towards. You're right, though. It's a different mindset and a different level of commitment to maintain it over a year or 3 years or 5 years. So my answer to your question specifically is, if you have a 5-year goal you're working on, right, break it into smaller chunks. So first of all, look at your next 12 months. What's the next 12 months? What goal are you committed to no matter what? There's no other option. And by the way, I use the miracle equation to write the miracle morning, to write my book, right? And what you do is you need to put it in writing. So create a written affirmation that says, the miracle mantra. Here's my goal. I will maintain unwavering faith and tell myself that I can reach the goal every day, no matter what. There's no other option. And then I will put forth extraordinary effort and give it everything I have until the last possible moment every day, no matter what, regardless of the results. I will, right? And so create an affirmation and then read it every day. So you're programming your subconscious mind to be reminded of it and to embody it and to believe it. And then you have to live it.
That's awesome. And so how far, let's say you have a big goal that's 5 years out, how far do you actually break it down to? Do you stop at that 12-month level? What goal can I accomplish in 12 months that's related to my 5-year goal? Or do you go even further than that? Like, how small chunks do you get to is, I guess, what I'm asking. Every day. Every day?
You got to break it down to every day. Yeah. So for me, when I had a big sales goal for the year, I was trying to do, my big sales goal. We talked about this, on an earlier podcast, but, I broke it down to 20 phone calls a day, 6 days a week. And I knew based on the averages that as long as I made 20 phone calls a day, 6 days a week, I reached my goal. If you want to write a book, right? What do? You commit to writing X amount of words a day for, X, 6 days a week or whatever. And then you do the math. You start at the end. You go, okay, if I want to write a 180-page book, right? I want to do it in 6 months. I have to write 1 page a day for the next 180 days, and inevitably you'll have a book, right? So when you break those goals down, that's where you see it's like most people just look at the end result and it's so big and it's so scary and it's so far away. But that's why you do have to break it down to, okay, what do I need to do on a daily basis to make it so that my success is inevitable? Reaching the goal is virtually inevitable.
So do you want to finish telling your story about how the push period actually went?
I do, and I'll tell you part of the reason that I want to share this is, and for some people watching what I'm about to share, I think there'll be some skepticism, and for some of you that don't believe in energy or the metaphysical, or you're like, I gotta see it and touch it and feel it to know that it's real. This is gonna be like, you're gonna be like, just ignore this part, or not, don't ignore it. Actually, like, be open to it. So here's the point. I really believe that when you live in this realm of the miraculous, when you live by the miracle equation, I believe that forces outside of our understanding, and you call it God, call it luck, call it us, our ability to create, anything that we really put our intention on. I don't know exactly how. I can't see what you can't see, so I can't tell you what it looks like. I just know it works. You see a lot of successful people that they're like, like the law of attraction. That's not the end all be all, but there's some truth to it. You see it happen where when you focus on something and you work towards it, circumstances beyond our understanding come into our lives. When you're in line with a goal and your purpose, things that you can call them luck, but I call them whatever you want. I'll take all the luck I can get, but they come into your life in ways that you just can't explain. And so here's how my push period played out. And this is wild. And by the way, I'll plant the seed right now. I have now coached dozens of sales reps, and entrepreneurs and business owners on using the miracle equation in their own life. And it started out with me coaching dozens of sales reps specifically on how to have their first $20,000 push period. And Nick, probably around 80% of the people that I've coached this on have successfully gone from not even believing that they could do $20,000 in a push period to 80% of them have succeeded. And then I had sales reps go, Hal, will the miracle equation work for a $30,000 push period? And of course I said, yeah, of course. And my biggest push period was $27,000. So I go, I've never even done it, but you can do it. And I've coached more sales reps in my previous company on having their first $20,000 and $30,000 push period than anyone else in history. And I'm not bragging. It's not me. It's the miracle equation that works. So, what I'm about to share with you in how my story finished up, it almost always works this way, where they're never on track for the goal, and the faith is tested. Their faith is tested, and they somehow pull out a miracle at the end. So for me, it was 10 days. After the first week, I needed to be at $14,000, $2,000 a day for 10 days to be on track. Follow the math, right? I was at $7,000. So I was $7,000 short of where I needed to be. I had 3 days left. At 7,000, I was $13,000 away. Now, Nick, if you're watching this and you're like, I'm not a salesperson, I hope you realize this isn't just for sales. This is my experience and how I use the miracle equation, but relate it to whatever goal you have that's huge. You want to be a millionaire. You want to write a book. You want to start a nonprofit. Whatever goal you have, it's universal. So for me, Nick, imagine if you had just worked your tail off for 7 days and you had sold $7,000 and you don't feel like you could have worked any harder. And now you have 3 days left. So you have less than half the time that you've worked to sell $7,000 and you have to sell $13,000. Right? Where's your confidence in that?
I think most people would feel pretty depressed and feel like it's just not going to happen.
And by the way, here's a little secret. That's how I felt. Like, I totally doubted myself. And the thing about the miracle equation is it's a strategy that you have to use to override your fear and doubt. Meaning that voice creeps in where I'm like, dude, there's no way that I'm going to sell $13,000 in 3 days. But then I go, I say that miracle mantra. I go, nope, I'm going to sell $13,000 in 3 days, right? If I was saying that and I was hooked up to a lie detector test, I'd fail every time. Every time, right? I don't believe it, but I'm going to say it over and over and over and over and over again. And the funny part is, if you say anything enough, you program your subconscious mind. At some level, you start to actually think it might be possible. So I went with this miracle equation. I'm like, all right, I don't know how, but I'm going to sell $13,000 in 3 days. And I didn't really believe it, but I'm like, regardless, I'm going to give it everything I have until the last moment so I can pass the mirror reflection test and look in the mirror and be like, Al, you gave it your all. I did everything I could, right? I go out. My first day, I sold $3,000. Now I'm at $10,000. All right, feeling better. Next day, $3,000. Next day, so wait, how did this work? Oh yeah, so $3,000. I sold almost a little over, basically three $3,000 days. So I was at $17,000 or just short, like $16,900. But it was over. But extraordinary effort. I went, how? I could have easily rested on my laurels and been like, hey, that was pretty good. Right. But I was, remember, committed, unwavering, no matter what, till the last moment. So I called my manager. I said, hey, Frank, I said, I'm 3,000 away from my goal. I know we're supposed to meet at the office tomorrow to drive to the conference together. Can I skip that meeting? I could squeeze in a couple more appointments. Please, I got to give it everything I have. But yeah, that's fine. So I scheduled 2 appointments for the next day, and another sales rep calls me, and I'm going to share this part because this is those forces that you attract into your life that are beyond our understanding. This was one of them. A guy by the name of Adam, my friend Adam Kerchak, he calls me. He goes, Hal, hey, I'm going to be there in the morning early for the conference. I heard you have a couple appointments. Can I field train with you? Can I go on your appointments? I said, yeah, sure, no problem. If it wasn't for Adam, what I'm about to tell you would never have come to be. If it wasn't for that random phone call of him wanting to come with me. The next morning, we're in the car together. We drive to the first appointment. I knock on the door. I'm like, and I had told Adam, by the way, I had told him where I was. He's like, dude, you're going to sell 3,000 on these next 2 appointments? This should be good. This should be good. I want to see this, right? I'm like, I don't know how, Adam. We got to do it, man. Knock on the door again. Nobody's home. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Like, I'm like, God, I'm putting forth the extraordinary effort. How could you do this to me? Like, what? Come on. I'm looking in the windows. I'm like, dude, nobody's home. Call the house. Nobody answers. I leave a voice, like a sad voicemail, like, I'm on your front porch. How could you forget me? Pretty pathetic. But so we get in the car, and Adam's like, dude, that sucks, man. I'm sorry. He goes, so what next? I go, we got to sell 3,000 on the last appointment. And he's like, you're going to sell $3,000 to one customer. And I'm like, yes, I have to. No other option, right? So we go to the last appointment. We knock on the door. A woman answers. However, this woman has a heavy European accent not the accent of the woman that I set the appointment with, who was American. And I said, yeah, is Judy here? And she said, oh no, she left for the day. She drove to Monterey, like 3 hours away. I'm like, no, you're kidding. I'm like, when will she be back? Could you call her? She's like, no, she's gone for the day. I'm so sorry, she must have forgot. She goes, is there anything I can help you with? I said, who are you again? She goes, oh, I'm her sister-in-law visiting from Europe for my brother's 50th birthday party. And in my head, I'm thinking, dude, there's no way the foreign lady on vacation is going to buy $3,000 worth of knives. This is a lost cause, right? And so I said, actually, thank you, but no thank you. And right as I'm about to let her shut the door, my buddy Adam, my miracle man, who he goes, wait a minute. He goes, wait, man, wait. He goes, Hal, I drove all the way out here to see you doing your presentation. Would you mind, maybe she could listen to it and I could at least watch the presentation? And in that moment, I was like, I had this epiphany, this like divine intervention. I'm like, Adam just got me to do something I wasn't going to do that is the only way that there's even a possibility for me to reach the goal. I was like, actually, ma'am, do you think I can do the presentation for you? She goes, sure, come on in. So I'm like, I got to give my best. I got to do the best appointment. I don't know how I'm going to convince this woman who's only here for like another few days on vacation to buy knives. I don't think we ship to Europe, right? I'm like, I don't know, but it's got to happen. So I go through the appointment, and Nick, she tells me two things that lead me to believe this has to be a miracle. Like, this can't be a coincidence. Number one, she goes, it's so funny that you're showing me cutlery. My husband and I were just looking at a high-end set of Kinkles back in Europe right before we came to America. We were about to buy it, but something told us we should wait after our vacation. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's crazy.
And then she tells me, you know what? My brother's 50th birthday party is next week, and we've been looking for the perfect gift for him, but we can't find it. We can't find it, and it's this coming week. What do you think his passionate hobby was, Nick? Cooking. This woman buys 2 ultimate sets for $3,200, and I end up going to the office and hitting my goal.
Nice.
And
that's awesome.
That's where the miracle equation was born. But if that was all I had, I would, anybody could go, yeah, that's a cool story. But like, yeah, maybe you got lucky. Who knows? It was when I started teaching it, and all I did was tell that story and tell my coaching clients, okay, unwavering faith, speak your goal into existence with the miracle mantra and extraordinary effort. Like, that's it. I didn't give them any extra tips. I didn't say, here's how you close bigger on it. No, that's it, the miracle equation. And time after time after time, I taught it to this gal, Jerry. Jerry went out. She called me the day before the last day. She goes, Hal, I'm at 17,000. And by the way, this girl had sold for like 12 years and had never sold more than $14,000 in a push period. And anyway, and she calls me. She goes, Hal, I'm at 17,000. I got 1 day left. It's just like you, the miracle equation. And the next day, I get another voicemail. She goes, Hal, the miracle equation works. I sold $5,000 today. I can't believe it. And it happened again and again and again and again and again. And the only reason that the miracle equation is more than my own little lucky story is because I've seen dozens of people that I've taught it to achieve results beyond what they ever believed were possible for them. And the same can work for you.
That's awesome. I think this miracle equation has so many applications in our lives, and it can be put to use in so many different ways. Hal, let's kind of help our listeners figure out how they can start putting this miracle equation to action for them this week. So do you have any suggestions for a take action challenge for our listeners?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Here's what it is. It's what's your number one goal? What's the most important goal in your life? Not for the distant or the long future, far away future, but what's your number one goal this year for 2013? What's your number one goal? What goal, if you were to accomplish it, whether it's your physical fitness or something in your relationship, or it's a monetary goal, money-wise, whatever. One of my new coaching clients wants to double her income. That's her big goal. It's a huge goal, right? So whatever your goal is, apply the miracle equation and do it in writing. Write out your goal, write out the miracle equation. Unwavering faith plus extraordinary effort equals or creates, equal sign or creates miracles. And then write out the miracle mantra. I will achieve blank no matter what. There's no other option. And write down, I will give it everything I have until the last minute, regardless of my results. Regardless of my results. If you need to rewind the podcast or rewind the video to write that down, that's fine. And then, and if you want to jot down, the purpose of this goal is not even to hit the goal. It's to become the person that I need to be to achieve my goals. That's the ultimate purpose.
I'm going to stop it there. The fly is joining us this morning. So I'm going to stop that there. And by the way, what he just talked about for me is like, it's a perfect segue into what really we're going to be diving into 3 weeks from now when we do SC2 alliances, and just a lot of really reshaping and molding your mind into like what, is possible and what you can be doing, for yourself, and how to really create the life of your dreams and what you want to have. And it's for some people, it can seem like a crazy thing. But when you talk to every successful person who's ever done anything great, they know it's here, and every single person who's done anything huge has doubted themselves, has been doubted. Some people have thought they're like crazy, to go after like these big goals. But they like saw it and they're like, I'm doing it, I'm doing it no matter what. And they had that focus. And I just, it excites me when I see people really living that out. I had the opportunity this past weekend at the NVL, and NVL is National Volleyball League that we're partnering with. But I was at the NVL and got to speak to a couple of different, pro athletes and some of the guys that run the place. And it was just neat to talk to some people, and a lot of them that are just really focused on personal development and goals. And they were just asking like, oh, so what do you do outside of, like, what's your career? Like, or do you play? Are you a player too? No. I was like, I enjoy volleyball, but I'm not a professional volleyball player, but thank you. But I said, I work with Kerchak. I was like, oh my God, I love Kerchak. And one of the players was like, oh my gosh, I sold Kerchak when I was in college. He's like 12, 14 years ago or whatever. And I was like, no way. And we started talking. He's like, and he goes, I learned so much that I use to this day as a professional athlete. He's like, about mindset. He's like, I had one of the best coaches. He was like sharing with me. And he's like, and I remember, he's like, we were in one of those competition periods, and I'm like, we're in the playoffs right now. He's like, oh, he's like, what are you doing here? I was like, I had to be here, and he was just laughing. He's like, oh my gosh. He's like, I learned so much through that process of like just having a goal, learning perseverance, learning discipline, not giving up, like no matter what, and just so much mental coaching that I went through that as a professional athlete has been huge, because, there's games that don't go well, there's tournaments that don't go well, and it sucks, or there's practices that you're doing things and you're just like, gosh, and the results just haven't been there in terms of what you want. And he's like, and it's really crazy to think that like that crazy knife job, how much it helped me and how much I learned that I use every day to this day. He's like, I like preach that to people, and he was sharing a lot of things. It was just so cool to listen. And I said, I know. I said, that's something. I said, that's probably why I'm still doing. He's like, you're still doing the night. And I was like, 14 years. I said, 14 and a half years. I said, I love it. I go, that's my favorite part about the job. I'm like, I love teaching that. I said, I love teaching the life skills aspect and really the mentality aspect. And I want to encourage you guys as we go into these last 2 days to really, get your head where it needs to be, and when things aren't going exactly how you want it, it's like, hey, this is part of one of the things that he mentioned that I think is just so important is that the goal, the goal of the goal is not to hit the goal, right? Like it's who you become in that process and really understanding who you need to be to hit that kind of a goal, it's awareness, it's transformation, and it's different parts for different people at different times of their life. I've been through a lot of push periods and they all serve different purposes. Okay. So, for you, really being able to analyze, even in this push period, have you really done everything that you needed to do it? Have you really thought about who you need to be, where your mindset needs to be at, in order to create what you want, and continuing to coach yourself through that process. So I'm excited for the last 48 hours. I know we have people traveling, people coming in. I know that some of the guys should be coming in later. I know we had a couple people that overslept this morning that were supposed to be here. But we're going to be just kind of rallying the troops as we finish off these last 48 hours. And I've talked to a couple people already, and I got to talk to some people last night. And here's what I'll tell you. Like, we have, and by the way, you guys can book an 8:30, like an 8 or 8:30 a.m. on Wednesday morning. Don't forget that. Make sure you have your list of people to call back, you know, and even all the sales today, tomorrow. But I've seen so many people, even in the last 24 hours. You guys have seen stuff posted in the groups. I don't know who's in Scholarshipers group, but they've been, you know, all through the weekend, they were like posting all different stories of people who just like finished strong at the end. But so many people that have sold 3, 5, 7, 10 grand in the last 24 hours. People that in the morning of, you know, dropped several grand, you know, just like he did. I've heard that a gazillion times in the last 14 years. So I'll tell you guys, you know, like have fun, tie customers in, let them know I've got 48 hours left. My conference starts at 11 a.m. on Wednesday, and I've got a big goal to hit before then. And just, you know, let them know, be like, I've been working so hard. I don't know how it's going to happen, but I'm going to hit it. I'm going to hit it no matter what, you know, and keep going through that process. And I'm just telling you guys, it is so cool to see all the stories. Michelle even shared the other day, like $8,000 a lady bought from her right at the end last year to hit her goal. Like, you just never know who you bump into. You never know who they know who's like, you know what, let's do this thing, you know? So do not give up on yourself before it's over, and just have a lot of fun in these next couple of days. So kill it, just do it. Anyway, we'll get rid of, but anyway, limo night will be a great time of celebration. But to me, what's cool about for us is that you don't have to win the playoffs right now. Like, we'll end up in the top 3 is what I'm thinking. I mean, we were number 3 last week for the first half nationally. And by the way, we've got to make some big moves to finish in the top 3. We could finish top 2. It's going to be real hard to take down number 1 just because they were already 50 grand ahead of us last week, you know, and this week we're at 50 grand. So we've like caught them for their first week right now. So, you know, anything's always possible. You know, my thing is I want to finish strong. I know I want to know that we gave everything we have finishing up. And I want to prepare because 3 weeks from now starts the Super Bowl. And again, in our business, we don't have to win the playoffs to win the Super Bowl. You know, so what can we do? And I'm meeting with the staff today. And I was talking to Austin yesterday. We went to dinner last night. And I was just like, right now, everything's about like, what are we doing for the second half? You know, second half of the summer starts now, right after SE1. Like, that launches the second half of the summer. And it really, for some people, it's the start of their summer. It was the start of my summer. And what can we do to really make something awesome happen? Get routines and schedules with everyone. Part-timers that are working, most part-timers are working, you know, 2-3 days a week. Full-timers are working 4 to 6 days a week. And making sure we have set schedules that you guys are excited about. You know, some people are just working 1 day a week because they have like a gazillion other things, but still love this, the growth and the challenge that it presents. But just getting structure for everybody for the second half of the summer, and also locking in, you know, who is going to be. And I've got a core group already that I've talked to that's already solidified, you know, for Super Bowl, but then adding some people and some layers to that over the course of the next 3 weeks. So we're definitely, you know, again, looking for those extra hands. Like, big thing is making sure we have a squad to go into that with. But regardless, like, I'm super excited about the summer. Just so you guys are aware, I am starting on Thursday. I start going on tour with butt kicker meetings, and those meetings are designed to really map out like what the second half, you know, can do, what it can be financially, personally, professionally. And for anyone who's really looking to maximize this summer, like, there's just a lot of things that I was coached, you know, my first summer that helped me. And by the way, in August, I sold 26 grand in August alone and made over $13,000. It was pretty awesome, you know, or over $10,000. So making sure people are set up in terms of what's possible. And a big thing is the Leadership Academy, you know, for those who are really excited about hooking up your resumes. And really how we have Leadership Academy, and we also have the events team, which is kind of a segue. Like, anyone who's going into our Leadership Academy, like, I want them going through our events training. I want them being exposed to the top people. I want them learning, just continuing on their journey of learning how to be a better, you know, representative, a better leader. And so the coaching for that'll be in August when we do our events training. We have our national events coordinator coming down, just kind of informing on things that are happening, things you could take advantage of. and really seeing, you know, what you're most excited about and how you want to stand out. But I want to make sure that we're focused on creating. We're focused on, you know, what can be. We're not letting what's happened dictate what could be. That's really important, you know, and even as you finish these last couple of days, like just go have a great time and feel damn good about finishing strong. That's really what I want you guys to do. Cool. So let's